Good morning, all. Nice to see you, all bright and cheery on this sunshiny day. And we got a lot of business to do today, and we get it all done fast. We can get out and enjoy the sunshine. My name is Hugh Van Swearingen. I'm the chairman of the district board. We'll talk about that a little bit later. First off, why we're here? Well, the district board is here because we're considering selling the hospital building and our other property that's owned by the district to Billings Clinic through Townsend Health Systems. We'll go into that in detail later on. The THS board is here for some very complex reasons, and I'll let them tell you why when it's their turn to make the presentation. The order of business, we'll have 3 presentations to begin with. We'll have a district board presentation, which I'll lead. Then we'll have a presentation by Townsend Health Systems, and I believe Bill Upthegrove is going to handle that. And then Billings Clinic wants to make a presentation. I think Dr. Seeger will handle that. I think so. Then after we have the presentations, we'll have public discussion. We'll open at that point, we'll open it to any and all questions or comments or whatever you want to make. And we want to give you plenty of adequate time to do that. Then after that, we're going to have separate business meetings. I think the way it's going to be, we'll lead off with the Townsend Health Systems will have their business meeting, complete that, and then we will have a business meeting, and then the district will have a business meeting. And just briefly, the difference is confusing. The hospital district owns the property, the hospital building, and some other property. And we lease the hospital district of the building to the Townsend Health Systems, which actually operates the hospital. That's the main difference. So with that, if there's any questions at this time on the procedure, we have a refer on that.
1 host and 2 participants in this conference. Please announce yourself.
What I'll do, I'll introduce my board members, and then as we go on, we can have each party of the THS will introduce their board members. Sitting next to me here is Vic Sample. He's our vice chairman. And next to him is Missy Cox. She is our board clerk, our district clerk. Then we have John Engel, and then Don Langlanay. I think we have one more board member who's not here. I think he's here by phone. Is that right, Kyle? Do you know?
Haven't validated it yet.
Anyway, it's Tom Wayne. So we have 5 members. Tom is not here again. So I think our bylaws don't allow or don't speak to proxy voting or anything, so I don't think he can vote. I'm not sure. You guys do. You guys let people vote by phone, don't you? Usually, you do. So I think we can let Tom do that. But I don't think there's going to be any dissension. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Just briefly, we're here again, the district board is here because we want to consider selling our properties to Billings Clinic, actually through Townsend Health Systems. It's going to happen here. We'll see later. Now we own 3 parcels. One is across the hospital building itself. There's about 4 or 5 lots there, and the hospital building itself. Then we own a small parcel. You know where the Grover, what they call the Grover buildings are? There are some kind of warehouse buildings across the street from the hospital. We own just a very small lot back there that is hard to access. You get access through the alleys, the main way to go in there. It's got really very little commercial value at all, never will have. Then we have what they call the ambulance building, popularly known as that because it was used to store our ambulances. And also in the front of that, there's a big meeting room. That building has got a lot of problems to it. it's got a leaky roof, and it's got mold, and it's not, it was a showroom for an automobile dealership at one time, for a long time, I guess. And they also had shops back there where they did repair work. Well, the building has got its problems, and it's also got contaminated soil underneath there, diesel fuel, and it's good. So the board, and in consultation with the county, which owns, the county owns a parking lot right next door to it, right next to it, adjoining it. And that's also got some pollution problem with diesel and gasoline, apparently. So anyway, we're fortunate enough, thank God for MBAC, Montana Business Assistance Corporation, or connection, I guess, I'm not sure what it is. Through them taking the lead, we're going to get it, all the soil cleaned up and removed and cleaned up, and the lots cleaned up, and we're going to get the building torn down. And through some federal grant money and some state petroleum board money, and it's going to, apparently there won't be any cost to the county or to the district. So at that point, that property will be fairly nice and very valuable. We want Billings Clinic, and they want it to have an option to buy that when it gets remediated. And it looks like that will probably happen next summer. It's not going to happen this winter. They're having trouble right now getting people to bid on tearing that building down. But anyway, we'll have an option. They'll have an option to buy it, but we want to sell them right now or immediately, on or before October 31st. The hospital parcel 1, the hospital building parcel, and then parcel 3, which is the that lot behind the Grover buildings. Now the price on that is actually. Well, let's talk about the building first a little bit. I think the hospital building has been really well maintained, but it is 35, pushing 40 years old, and it's got some problems, some structural problems, not really structural problems, but problems with the HVAC system, the heating and air conditioning. It's got some problems with the roof. And like any old building, there are problems that always creep up. Last year we had to spend about nearly $100,000 it cost us for the district to have the emergency generator repaired, and a major project to repair some plumbing problems in the floor, and a bathroom that was used for the patient's bathroom. Anyway, and right now there's, I said, the leaky roof and HVAC system. So there's always those problems come up, even though the building, I think, has been very well maintained. It does make a good hospital building this small. Now, the price on that. The district board owes the county now. We took out a loan about 2 years ago. The county loaned us $750,000, and we gave that, and then we turned around and loaned that to the THS, and they have paid off a large share of that, about $250,000. Left on that loan now is $444,000, and Billings Clinic is going to pay that loan off. It's actually through some what they call warrants or IOUs that we issued. It gets complicated. We don't need to go into that at this point at all. But anyway, so the Billings Clinic is also assuming all the liabilities of the hospital, the Broadwater Health Center. So I view that as a really generous price and a very fair one. That's what we plan to do. The reason we want to do it, of course, is the only reason the hospital district exists is to provide hospital services to the community. We want those to continue, and we think it's going to be a great operation for us. I'm really happy about that. So there's where we stand, and I'll let the hospital or THS make their presentation. Now again, after they make their presentation, after you hear Billings Clinic, we can open up to any questions you have or whatever, all right? So Bill, the brothers first. Or do you want? Yes.
I'm Bill Upthegrove. I'm Secretary Treasurer of the Broadwater Health Center Board. Other members of our board are Marcia Biber, Brad Campbell, George Munns, Michelle Barstead, and Ron Saladay. And our CEO is Kyle Hopstead at the end of the table. Let me address our partner board and the public about why we made this change. First off, you have to understand that our board is dedicated to the long-term health of this community. And we just came to the point where it was necessary for us to partner with a larger healthcare organization to make sure we could continue healthcare in this county. So let me go through a few of the reasons why Broadwater Health Center trustees unanimously voted to choose Billings Clinic as that partner. This started several months ago with us putting out what was called a letter of intent. And that letter of intent listed some of the must-haves, the things that we felt we really needed to partner to provide and accept for us to move ahead. Billings Clinic, in the end, was very clear with their responses to that letter of intent. And some of the things in it that I think you would find interesting, first was local representation. Billings Clinic wanted us to have an operating board, not an advisory board. In other words, they wanted people who had a say in running of the hospital. And it looks right now like there'll be 4 local people from this region, probably most of them from Broadwater County, having a say in the operation of the hospital. They further gave us some special powers for 3 of us, which I'll roll back around to in a minute and explain. The second area I'd like to talk about was their clear response to our letter of intent for some of the major things we asked about. The first one, and you heard Hugh talk about it briefly, they've agreed to assume all of our debt. Now, the one everybody talks about is the warrants to the county. They'll certainly pay those off, and I think their intent is to pay them off immediately. But they've also assumed our other debts that we have, so that was important. Now, one of the places that got us to this spot is we've just not had capital to fix anything, and the voters have clearly said, we're not going to help you with any kind of mill levy. And so one of the asks we had of our suitors was, we would like you to put $5 million into our facility over 5 years, with a lot of flexibility about how that would be done. It could be the roof, maybe it's an expansion, maybe it's some equipment. Billings Clinic clearly came forward and said, yes, we're willing to do that. And not only said that, but I said our board would have some special authority. Well, 3 of the local board members are giving authority for enforcement or tracking and measuring that. So that was important to us, and it's certainly going to be important to the community of that capital being put into our healthcare system. They've also were very clear about maintaining the hospital as a critical access hospital. You have to understand that we can't have an emergency room without it being a critical access hospital. The hospital is what supports our long-term care, what many of you think was a nursing home. Without the hospital, no one's going to come here and open a nursing home. It's just way too difficult. So their attitude was, well, why are you talking about 5 years? We intend to make this successful long-term. So that was some of their responses to our letter of intent. Now, they've also given assurances that they'll come and strengthen not only our primary care, so think the clinic, and I know they're already got their someone who they're thinking of as a female practitioner, doctor in our clinic, and until everything's resolved, we can't say yes or no about that. They have already dedicated, and I don't know if it's OBGYN or pediatrics, and I'm going to look at Dr. Seeger for a minute.
So we have both OBGYN and pediatrics that will be starting outreaches here
Okay, and he can talk about that in his presentation. So services we've never had are coming to town. They've expressed a willingness to work with other hospitals around us. So for example, they've expressed a willingness to work with St. Peter's as being one of our closest neighbors. And they're going to maintain our ambulance service. So if you're not aware, the hospital currently maintains our ambulance. And we've recently added paramedics, 2 paid paramedic staff to the ambulance service to help supplement our volunteers, which are getting harder and harder to find. And they're going to keep that as well. Legally, what we're doing, and you'll see it today, is we're going through what's called transfer of membership. It's a legal way that we're going to hand off the hospital. Billings Clinic fully understood that process, and others didn't. Others wanted to do this in a much more complicated way. Now, I would point to Billings Clinic's track record. They have associated with, I want to say, at least 12 other critical access hospitals. So just to give you an idea of who they're also affiliating with, Roundup, Harlow, Livingston, Lewistown, Big Timber, Columbus, Red Lodge. There's some other ones in that list, but do you notice our neighbors are all on that list? Not only have they worked with those people, but I have talked board to board member with those other organizations, and they've all been very happy. And Billings Clinic has never come in and pulled out of anywhere and left them high and dry. So their track record shows great support for the affiliates they have. One of the things that maybe is harder to put your finger on, but as I've talked to the community, it's apparent, that's the quality that Billings Clinic brings to healthcare. Just everyone in this community is excited about that we've chosen Billings Clinic. And some of the things that could happen is, okay, now you can come to our clinic and maybe see a specialist, a pediatric doctor with your sick child. And that pediatric doctor might say, okay, we need to send you down to Acorn Pediatrics in Bozeman. And they might say in Bozeman, hey, this needs to go up a step, maybe to Billings, or, and they're affiliated with Mayo Clinic, you could go end up at Mayo Clinic. That's the depth of the quality that they bring to us.
All girls interested in playing girls basketball, please.
Any takers for girls basketball? I guess I would finish kind of with the example of the trust that they seem to have with us immediately, despite there's going to be a lot of challenges and there's threats and there's going to be some difficulties, but they're coming for the long term. And this is as opposed, and I'll leave you with this example, legal teams certainly have been involved in this all along, and one of our suitors' legal team actually said to us, you'll take what we give you. And what you just heard from me is not Billings Clinic's attitude at all about that. It has been to partner with us from the beginning. So those are some reasons why our board unanimously chose to go with Billings Clinic. Is there any questions for me about that? Then if they're not, I'll turn it back to you.
Well, this time we move on to Billings Clinic and Dr. Seeger to talk whatever presentation you want to make.
Sure.
Thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, thank
You guys
you.
all drive down this morning?
This morning, yeah, we drove.
That's a long drive.
Oh, nice drive, nice drive.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I think I've been in front of most everybody in the room at one point. I'm Clint Seeger, I'm the Regional Chief Medical Officer. In the back, I have a couple of my partners. I have Vern Sarda and Pat McConnell. They're part of our team that works with all of our regional affiliates. And so, first of all, I just wanted to say how honored Billings Clinic as an organization is to have been chosen. Bill, thank you for all the kind words. I don't really have to say anything after that, so thank you. We are excited. This week has been sort of full with Townsend work in Billings. We've had several presentations through our organization. You guys are working through things, and so are we. And those have been great presentations, great discussion at our organization. I will just share from our organization. Everybody's very excited about this partnership. And so there's a lot I could probably go into about what we look, as we look to the future, what we see for Townsend. We've had a lot of work going on, but I think part of the things you already talked about is how do we partner with this community to expand services? What are the services that need to be expanded? Primary care, and access to good primary care, good primary care physicians who live in this community is just a must. And so we, as you alluded to, we've got some work going there, and hopefully we'll be able to announce some things shortly. And then in terms of expansion of services that haven't been here historically, both in the short term with our two practices out of Bozeman OBGYN and the Acorn Pediatrics will have those providers here. There's two providers there, very excited to be up here. They've been up here on site. They're excited to start part of their practice up here. And then as we expand in Bozeman, I think everybody knows we'll have a expanding footprint. We are looking already at ways that we will be able to bring those services up to Townsend. So again, we're really excited. Our organization is thrilled to be here. As we've gone through this process, this organization has been phenomenal to work with. The people in the hospital we work with have been great. I see several of them back there. They've been just very helpful. So we'll have more to come after this. Hopefully this all gets finalized. And I'm certainly open to any questions or comments about what our intent is. Thank you.
All right, now we'll open up to general questions, comments, discussion, whatever you want to say. I'll open it just a little bit too by explaining a little bit further about the hospital building property. You know, that building does make a pretty nice little hospital, but it wouldn't be really suitable for much else. If we don't sell that, it's going to end up empty. And if you want to drive around Montana, you're going to see empty hospital buildings here and there. They got weeds growing around them and broken windows. You just can't have an empty building. It'll deteriorate. It's got to be done. There's no question about that. I do have a public comment that was mailed to me from Bill Huber and Jan Huber. Now, if you remember them, Bill, of course, he was a longtime chairman of about 5 years of the THS board. And Jan Huber was chairman of this board for several years, and before that, she was on this board for, I guess, probably 6 or 8 years, maybe 10. Dear Hugh, we are unable to attend the public hearing regarding the resolutions referenced above. That's the resolutions themselves, but wanted to express our support for the adoption of the resolutions. We also want to commend the district board and the THS board on their diligence and commitment to assuring quality health care is available to the citizens of our county. It has been a long and difficult struggle to bring the hospital back from the nursing home closure to a facility that attracts the interests of multiple potential partners. We believe the THS board made the correct decision in selecting Billings Clinic because of their resources, their experience in partnering with critical access hospitals like ours, and their ability to continue with our nursing home while improving access to a variety of additional health services. Thank you all for your hard work and strength in working through these difficult times and bringing us to the promise of a bright future for healthcare in our community. Sincerely, Bill and Jan. Anyway, that was very gratifying to hear that. Now, is there any questions at all? Comments, thoughts, whatever?
Hello, everyone. My name is Judy Gillespie, and a longtime resident has asked me to read this to you. Dear Broadwater County Hospital District Board and TH Board of Directors, unfortunately, we have left on Tuesday for winter, but we hope that you will accept this letter as if we are present at your meeting. Board and I would like to raise our voices in support of Billings Clinic in their acquisition of the Broadwater Health Center and all of its services, the hospital, emergency room, lab, ambulance, and long-term care center, land and building. Our hospital has been an important part of Townsend, Broadwater County for over 100 years, and it is vital to the health of our citizens and the financial stability of our county. We are very happy that Billings Clinic, with a vast experience in rural health care, has chosen to make this purchase and invest in Townsend, Broadwater County. We really look forward to all the added services and expertise that they will bring with them. Sincerely, Ward Schofield and Sherry Schofield. And I personally would like to say to all of you, I am so excited that Billings Clinic is coming. My family and I can't tell you what it means to us. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I have a comment and question you. My name is Nancy Kenny, and first I'd like to say, since I did work on the ambulance, I'm very excited. I no longer work on the ambulance, but I'm very excited and happy that you are going to assume the ambulance and help them out, because that is awesome, and I'm all for the community, and I'm excited that you are here, and that, you know, we really do need that, considering that my husband was part of the hospital. My other question that's not going to make everybody happy is, I'd like to know, is Kyle staying or going? Because that is a big question that I get asked a lot.
Who wants to answer that?
So all along, I've shared with all of the prospective suitors that I would help in any way they saw fit. And I think towards the end of this month or towards the closing, that I'll be working as a consultant from there on. I will not be the CEO.
Thank you. Does that answer your question, Nancy?
Most.
We've, so just one other thing I would add to that is, so we will have and have identified an interim CEO who will be on site next week on Monday. And then we will go through a process from there on. Obviously, we need time to work through some things, but we will identify a permanent CEO, and that will involve the board and the people who work at Broadwater to interview and identify that person.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Ernie?
I was just going to say, what will the name be? Sorry.
So I'll go off of, we've had several discussions about this. If I'm forced to put an answer to that right now, just off of what our other models have been, if you look at Columbus, which is a very similar model to this, Columbus, the hospital name is Stillwater, or is Billings Clinic Stillwater. And so if we were to follow that model, it would be Billings Clinic Broadwater.
Very good.
So.
Mr. Nunn?
Yes. I'll keep it short. I want to echo, I'm Ernie Nunn with the Foundation Board, and I've been on that board a long time. And I want to echo what Judy Gillespie, one of our board members, had to say about where we're headed, new direction here. We're proud of our board that's kept us alive for a lot of years right here in Townsend. Made good progress, but it's time to move on. I get a lot of my information about Billings Clinic from one of your partners in Lewistown, my relative, Alan Ulrich. Provided me a lot of information and background on you guys, how you folks from the Billings Clinic goes out and helps all these other little communities maintain their hospitals, clinics and stuff, 12 of them, like Bill Uppergrove says, that's a big deal. And to have you to come into Townsend, Montana, in between Bozeman and Helena, we're proud to have you here. And I don't know if you know a lot about the Foundation Board. We extend an invite to you to appoint somebody to our board. We've got a vacancy, I think, Judy. And would love to have you as part of that because, let me tell you, in the last few years, our foundation here in Townsend, Montana and Broadwater County have provided over $2 million to that hospital. We've got a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in it, and we're going to hang tough with you guys when you move into this, taking this over after the day. And we're proud of you, proud of what you do. Your success rate is tremendous, and we're looking forward to having you here. I want to throw up a red flag. The rodeo is not over, and you guys know that, and you know what I'm talking about. And I think you're gonna get us through this 8 seconds, and we're gonna be the winner of this thing, and we already are by having you guys up here. I've had the opportunity to use your facility down in Billings. You got good medicine. I don't know a lot about it, but I know what your ties to this community means and to keep this operation going. You know, we got, I think, 107 employees down here in the hospital now. That's the thing I understand. A lot of those local folks right here, they don't have a job, they're gonna move. So we're glad to have you, and thanks for coming up and taking us over. We support the action of the district board and your hospital board, and let the good times roll right here today, and you guys are set for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ernie. Anybody else, any comments? If not, we're going to go into the PHS board. Will have a meeting, and upon their completion of that, the district board will consider a resolution to sell the hospital. So, again, your last chance right now. I guess, while we're having our business meeting, when it comes down to some discussion among board members, we could entertain a question or two if need be. So with that, I guess District Board, Brad Campbell, the chairman, will take over. All right, Brad?
Thank you very much, Hugh.
Thank you.
First, I want to say to Clint, we are so proud that you're here. And we'll do everything we can to make you proud of us. We have a small amount of business today, but it's very important. We have to set the framework to receive the real estate and the buildings that the district board is going to transfer. We have articles of incorporation, we have bylaws, we have certificates, we have a number of things, and it's all combined in one resolution today. And I would like to, at this point, I'm going to ask Bill Uppergrove if he will read a portion of that resolution so everybody can follow along. And then we'll have a motion, a second, and then the board will be open for internal discussion, and we'll vote. Once we pass that resolution, then we're in position to move forward. Bill?
I actually am going to move we accept this resolution, and I'll read it, so please bear with me. And before I started, there's a couple terms in here just to help you understand. The members of the Townsend Health System are actually now the same as the directors. So the people sitting here are now, when I say members and directors, it's the same set of people. So as I read this, that may help you a little bit. So I propose, or I move this following resolution of the combined meeting of members and directors of Townsend Health Systems, Inc. To approve a membership substitution agreement concerning Broadwater Health Center and various other documents related to the transaction. Whereas Townsend Health Systems, Inc., the corporation, was originally incorporated as a nonprofit corporation under the laws of the state of Montana on December 10th, 1980, and as of the date hereof continues to operate in good standing, and whereas pursuant to Article 3 of the corporation's bylaws, the directors of the corporation, called the directors, are also the members of the corporation, called the members. And whereas the directors called a special public board meeting on October 16, 2019 to present the final plan of member substitution to the public and to solicit and receive public comment regarding the same, and whereas a special meeting of the members and directors was properly called and duly noticed to seek the approval and to consummate the attached membership substitution agreement and related documents with Billings Clinic, whereby Billings Clinic shall become the sole member of the corporation, the member substitution. And whereas the corporation presently operates the Broadwater Health Center, a critical access hospital located in Townsend, Montana, known as the hospital, and whereas the corporation sought affiliation with Billings Clinic to operate the hospital and provide the hospital, its patients, and community with quality healthcare services into the future, and whereas contemplated as part of the affiliation with Billings Clinic, Broadwater County Hospital District, known as the district, agreed to transfer certain real property, including improvements located in the city of Townsend, Broadwater County, Montana, to wit, Lot D of the amended plat of Block 23 of the original town site of Townsend, Broadwater County, Montana, and lots 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 of Block 15 of the original town site of the city of Townsend, County of Broadwater, State of Montana, all according to the official plat on file thereof in the office of the county clerk and recorders in Broadwater County Courthouse, Townsend, Montana, known as the property. And whereas the corporation's board of directors and members have determined it is in the best interest of the hospital and in the interest of the community served by the hospital for Billings Clinic to become the sole member of the corporation. Now, therefore, it is resolved that the members and directors agree, subject to the conditions of the member substitution agreement, to the substitution of Billings Clinic as the sole member of the corporation pursuant to the terms, conditions, and material commitments of the membership substitution agreement, and be it further resolved that the members and directors, subject to the conditions of the member substitution agreement, agree to restructure the board of directors to include representation from Billings Clinic as set forth in the membership substitution agreement and attached proposed restated bylaws for the corporation, and be it further resolved that the members and directors approve and adopt, subject to the conditions of the member substitution agreement, the attached restated articles of incorporation for the corporation to be filed at the time identified in the membership substitution agreement, and be it further resolved that the members and directors, subject to the conditions of the member substitution agreement, approve and adopt the attached restated bylaws of the corporation to become effective at the time identified in the membership substitution agreement, and be it further resolved that the members and directors, subject to the conditions of the member substitution agreement, authorized officers as defined below to take all actions necessary to amend and restate the corporation's articles of incorporation and to file the attached restated articles of incorporation with the Montana Secretary of State and to bind the corporation to the terms and conditions of the restated articles of incorporation. Be it further resolved that the members and directors, subject to the conditions of the member substitution agreement, authorize its authorized officers, as defined below, to take all actions necessary to complete the member substitution agreement and bind the corporation to each of the terms and conditions of the membership substitution agreement, and the authorized officers may sign all other applicable documents in connection with the member substitution, including, but not limited to, the execution of the following documents, which are known as the execution documents. A, the member substitution agreement, B, the restated articles of incorporation for THS, C, restated bylaws for THS, D, certificates of THS, F, such agreements, closing documents, and other documents and instruments as may be necessary to receive the property and to obtain title insurance on the property, and G, such other documents necessary to properly effectuate the member substitution. Be it further resolved that the members and directors, subject to the conditions of the member substitution agreement, designate and authorize any two of the following: Chair of the Board, Vice Chair of the Board, Secretary Treasurer, or the Administrator/CEO, collectively the authorized officers, to do or cause to be done all such acts or things, and to sign and deliver or cause to be signed and delivered any and all documents, instruments, certificates, in the name and on behalf of the corporation or otherwise, as they deem necessary, advisable or appropriate to effectuate or to carry out the purposes and intent of the foregoing resolutions, and to consummate the member substitution.
At this point, I would ask for a second.
I'll second.
Marcia Biber is seconded. And I would like to open the discussion among the board members for any discussion, questions, or comments you have regarding the motion. If there are no comments at this time, then I will call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion as read and written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the records record that the motion be unanimous.
And let me finish reading.
Please go ahead.
In witness whereof, the members of the corporation present at the special meeting of the corporation on October 16, 2019 voted 6 in favor of these resolutions and 0 opposed to these resolutions. In witness whereof, the directors of the corporation present at the special meeting of the corporation on October 16, 2019 voted 6 in favor of these resolutions and 0 opposed to these resolutions. In witness thereof, the Secretary-Treasurer of the corporation is authorized to execute these resolutions as true and correct copy of the actions taken by the members at the special meeting, and by doing so shall attest to the results of the vote as described herein on the 16th day of October 2019. In witness thereof, the Secretary-Treasurer of the corporation is authorized to execute these resolutions as true and correct copy of the actions taken by the directors at this special meeting, and by doing so shall attest to the results of the vote as described herein on the 16th day of October 2019.
Bill, thank you. That was a chore. At this point, I would like to offer October 24th as our next meeting. If there's any objections at the board, just at the moment. Otherwise, we'll plan on that. And then I would pause our meeting until you're finished.
All right, we will continue we'll go into the business portion of our meeting, and we, like Townsend Health Systems, has a rather lengthy resolution. I guess I'll pretty much read the whole thing, or I'll skip around. We'll see here. I'll read it, the title and several of the whereases, and then what we actually resolved to do. And if anybody wants me to read it in its entirety, I will. It's 3 dense pages.
And we've handed out multiple copies to the crowd as well.
Oh, thank you. And if anybody wants a copy, you've got it. And our board members have had copies, so they've had time to study it and know what's in there. So anyway, I'll read the title. A resolution of the Broadwater County Hospital District approving and authorizing the purchase and sale agreement and the option agreement regarding the sale of real property to Townsend Health Systems Incorporated, doing business as Broadwater Health Center, pursuant to the Montana Code annotated Title 7, Chapter 34, Part 21, and approving the form and authorizing the execution of the purchase and sale agreement and option agreement and applicable documents. Whereas it is the purpose of Broadwater County Hospital District, the district, to supply hospital facilities and services to residents of the hospital district and to others. Then it goes on to a number of whereases about our paying off our loan in the county, squaring up with that, which gets fairly technical. Where it is hereby resolved, first off, it's resolved Montana Code annotated Title 7, Chapter 34, Part 21, as amended, gives the hospital district all powers necessary and convenient to the acquisition, betterment, operation, maintenance, and administration of hospital facilities that its Board of Trustees considers necessary and expedient. Under Montana Code annotated 734-2122, the hospital district may sell or lease any of its facilities or equipment as it considers expedient. That the hospital district does hereby find that 1, the hospital district is the sole owner of the real property, that execution of the purchase and sale agreement and opinion agreement is necessary and convenient to the betterment, operation, maintenance, and administration of hospital facilities in Broadwater County. That execution of the purchase and sale agreement will ensure complete satisfaction of the hospital district's obligations under the warrants, and that the hospital district desires to enter the agreements in the form such agreements were presented to the hospital district on the date of these resolutions. Authorization of the sale and purchase of real property. The hospital district by and through the board hereby approves the agreements and authorizes and direct the board chairman or such other individual board trustees as may be required to take all actions necessary and efficient to effectuate the transactions contemplated by the authorized officers, or any one of them to take all actions necessary to bind the hospital district to each of the terms and conditions of the district execution documents defined below, and that the agreements including but not limited to the execution of the following documents. Anyway, and then it goes on to list 12 different documents. Their purchase and sale agreement, which the warranty deed to convey the property, real estate transfer certificates, a whole bunch of them. If you want, you all got copies of it, so you don't need me to read them. Upon closing of the transactions contemplated by the purchase and sale agreement, the hospital district authorizes and directs the district authorized officers or any one of them or such other individual trustees as may be required to pay in full satisfaction all debts owed the county under the warrants. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage. So approved at this 16th day of October. And then a list of the board members individually: John Ingalls, Don Lane, Victor Sample, Hugh Van Swearingen, Thomas Wayne. There we have it. Does anybody who wants the full resolution read? Hope not. I guess at this point I would turn it over to the board for discussion, and we would entertain a motion, of course, to approve the resolution. What's your pleasure, board members?
Well, I would like to welcome Billings Clinic to the Townsend community. The board, the hospital district did not have a vote in the selection of Billings Clinic, but we were at all of the meetings. We had access to all the information, and we had a lot of input into the process, and we are very happy to have Billings Clinic here. As one of our board members said, he was so excited he could hardly wait to be sick. But we are delighted. We are delighted to be here, and we believe that selling the hospital to Billings Clinic is absolutely in the best interest of the county and the hospital district that is covers most of the county, not all, and that this transaction is in the best interest of the district.
Would you care to move?
I would move that we approve the resolution.
Thank you. Moved. Is there a second?
I second it.
Second. Is there any discussion?
As is a word that I seldom use. I find this resolution to be a very practical definition of common sense. It's very practical and sensible for us to approve it.
Any further discussion? Are you ready for the question? You ready for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Hearing none. Did I hear Thomas Wayne vote on the phone?
Yes.
I did. He voted aye.
I sure thought it was very nice.
Did you, Tom, did you vote?
I did vote aye.
Oh, thank you very much. All right, we have a unanimous vote for aye. The motion is approved. Thank you very much. So at this point, I think we've concluded the business we have to do today. Unless, oh, by the way, I wanted to thank Crowley Fleck, the law firm, for the diligent work they've done, an enormous amount of work. They're experts at this, and really, really appreciate it. Kyle?
Just a comment of incredible appreciation of this team that have been inspected by about 4 different entities from one end to the other, still trying to do their regular job. It's just incredible. Jenny, April, Cheyenne, Zoe, you guys have been incredible. And we're just about at the conclusion, and they just need to be highly recognized for all their hard work.
And I think Kyle should be highly recognized. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you very much. Any further business? Oh, yes. We have maybe just some short housekeeping so we don't have to call another board meeting for a while.
Okay, number one is we have a post office box that's up on October 31st. I'm guessing that we probably don't want to continue, but we need to decide.
Missy told me over the phone that we get very, very little mail in there, and so maybe we're going to give up that post office box at some time. But maybe what your feeling is to keep it for a while? Not.
Since we are going to continue to operate as the Broadwater County Hospital District, I believe it's still in our best interest to maintain the post office box, and it's at very low cost.
It's $23 for 6 months and $46 for what your pleasure is, 6 months or a year.
Would you move?
I would move that we continue to keep the post office box at $46 for the next year.
Is there a second?
Second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Discussion. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I heard 2 voices. Any opposed? Any opposed? No? All right, movement is, motion carried.
All right, the next thing is we do an annual report every year, and that's been taken to the account, so that's in the process. It's due December 31st.
So the audience can hear, we have to have an annual accounting report, and it's done by a CPA. It costs us about $450, which is extravagant for the amount of work it's done. Anyway, it's by law, we have to have it done, so I think we should authorize it, not any motion to do that.
We have the mandatory report done.
Thank you.
I second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
She said it was in the process.
We do it every year. Okay, so
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I think, is that it, Missy?
there's a question on the advertisement for this meeting, who pays for that?
That's the pay, to pay for the advertising, for the public notice, yes.
We did.
You already paid for that?
We received a bill that was.
Can't we solicit donations from the
They were
public?
They're like required to do public meetings.
Well, we could pay it.
I don't have the bill, so I don't know what the amount is.
Just under 200.
Do I hear a motion to pay for the public advertising for the public, to the public meeting, the meeting notice in the paper? It was did you see the way it was done? I think it was very well handled. About 3 columns wide, about 30 large type, 14-point type. Just for about the first couple paragraphs of it, and then it jumped to inside and referred to the whole meeting notice, which is about 2 yards long, as a legal ad. It worked out. Anyway, I entertain a motion to pay for the ad.
I move that we pay for the ad.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, I think we have concluded our business. Does anybody else want to, before we, I think we can close, I'd say the meeting is adjourned.